Well, we want to take you to a business spotlight now. Solar installations continue to happen at a record pace in Oregon, even though we have the reputation where the sun doesn't shine. Mr. Sun Solar's owner has seen a lot of changes in the industry since he started installing solar systems way back in 1980. There have been a lot of changes in the industry overall, too. So today we have two reports on our Business Spotlight segment, and we're going to begin with Phil Jefferson, who takes us to Mr. Sun's biggest installation to date.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right.
We're here at the First Street Veterinary Hospital in Lake Oswego. I'm here with Dr. Julie Cruz. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Tell us how you came to install this system here today.
Well, we decided to do it while we were buying the practice so we could incorporate it in with our mortgage system. And, it's just good for the environment. That was the main reason. And we should be able to get at least 40 to 50% of our total electrical costs through this system, which will be a savings over time. Basically, Mr. Sun Solar had helped us to determine that based on his experience. When we are producing more electricity than we're using, the meter will be running backwards, and we'll be selling that to PGE. My understanding with the solar panels is that they will provide some shade on the roof as well, and also some air cooling underneath of them, so we should need less air conditioning to keep the building cool in the summer as well.
We're up here on the roof. We're installing a system today with John Patterson and Mr. Sun Solar. Thanks for coming out today, John.
You're welcome.
So John, tell me a little bit about the system you're installing today.
We're installing a photovoltaic system that is a large commercial size system, 11.5 kilowatts. This system will produce about 40 kilowatt hours per day. Now that is roughly equivalent to the amount of electricity that a couple of energy efficient homes use. As far as the percentage of the electricity that this particular building uses, I would imagine it's in the neighborhood of a third to a half. Mr. Sun started in the solar business in 1980. We started out, I was building homes in the late 70s, and I put a solar water heating system on my own home in 1979, and I was really impressed with how well that worked. And so in 1980 I started specializing in solar. That's how I got into the business. We've done about 2,000 projects over the last 28 years. So that's 2 to 3 projects a week, every week for that many years. Our early projects were mostly passive solar home design, consultation with builders, and even some construction, solar water heating and solar pool heating. And then in 1992 we started to get into photovoltaic systems when that became popular in the urban areas. Photovoltaic systems installation started out in the off-grid world, at backwoods cabins and things like that, outer space, places like that. But when the advent of the grid-tie inverter, where the photovoltaic panels, the electricity from this array can feed directly into the customer's utility panel and back feed into the grid, even if they aren't using all the power this produces, that is when solar photovoltaic systems started becoming popular. Think about what has happened in the solar industry over the past 30 years. We see an evolution from complex to simple. That would be the most noteworthy progress, I would say. Old solar water heaters they had 15 to 20 working parts, and solar water heaters of today have 3 or 4. Photovoltaic systems, in the early days, they all had to be hardwired together in conduit, very, very time-consuming, tedious work. Now they plug together with quick connect cables that are weather tight. Grounding used to be something that had to be attached to each and every module. You spent a lot of time running ground wire, looping it around through all the modules on the underside. And now there's racking systems where, as the module is placed on the rack, it becomes grounded, and then you just ground the rack itself. So a lot of labor-saving devices. As far as the photovoltaic module goes, there's been a steady, concerted effort to increase the efficiency, and there's been some success there. 15 years ago, when I did my first system, modules were on the order of 12% efficient. And today, the most efficient modules are at 20% efficiency. So we've almost doubled in 15 years.
Gonna fit?
Gonna fit.
All right.
Each roof represents a different challenge. Many residential roofs, which are composition roofs, there's a lot of similarity between those. But any kind of flat roof, like on a commercial building like this, we have to know what's underneath. We have to tie our mounting brackets to a structural member so that in high winds it doesn't lift off. And we have to know that the structure will support the weight that we're adding to the roof. So generally on a commercial building, we're going to need to have that engineered.
The biggest surprise was the amount of time it took. It did take, we started this project in July last year with getting the permits and such ready, and it's taken us now till April to get them finally being installed.
We had a structural engineer design our racking system for this building. It's got an older roof with a little unconventional structural system, and so we had to create trusses of our own, which we built out of aluminum, that spread the weight of the solar panels uniformly across the entire roof. We fabricated all of these aluminum trusses that you see in the background. The collectors are being installed more or less flat to the roof. There is a slight pitch in order to facilitate water draining off of the face of the collectors. But the reason that they are not tipped up at an angle to the south is that the city of Lake Oswego did not want the collectors to rise above the existing roof line. So since it is a flat roof with a parapet wall around the perimeter, we had to keep the profile low and not sticking above that. We lose about 10% of our annual energy yield by not being tilted up at an angle to the south. But a lot of people think that's worth it for aesthetics, and if you do lift it up, then you've got more of a chance the wind can get a hold of it. You have to do wind engineering on the structure, and this has a lot of advantages. Really, a low profile, unobtrusive, and no wind loading, or less wind loading. And generally, we're having to design to meet 110 mile an hour winds. Photovoltaic modules are very, very durable. They can withstand hailstones, tree limbs, golf balls. They're in places like on beacons out in the ocean and on top of the Alps and out in outer space. They're very, very sturdy. In fact, they're guaranteed for 25 years. Very few products carry that kind of a guarantee.
Even though the Oregon is rainy and cloudy much of the year, or half the year, there is still solar output. There will still be some output there. Summer months and sunnier climates would be better, but we'll still be able to produce some in the winter. Hopefully our weather will be sunny soon. I'm going to be out watching my meter run backwards.
The popularity of harnessing the sun's power is reaching a new threshold where there are more business opportunities in the solar industry than ever before in the areas of component engineering, manufacturing, and solar installing. The Oregon Solar Energy Industry Association was formed to promote and support the solar industry. Gordon Westfall visited OSEA's Trade Expo at the Oregon Convention Center and visited many of the key distributors, manufacturers, and installers working in the industry today.
We're here at the Solar Expo here in Portland, Oregon, and we're talking with Joe Reinhardt with OSEA. Let me know a little bit about what OSEA is and what their function is here.
Well, OSEA is a not-for-profit trade association with the vast majority of our members being for-profit businesses. Small businesses, 2 and 3 people, as well as businesses that are have employees of several hundred people and operations around the world. And our mission is to advocate on behalf of our members the merits of solar energy, and specifically solar energy within the state of Oregon. And we advocate to public, industrial, as well as community policymakers. And we just believe that being informed allows policymakers as well as consumers to be able to make good choices relative to energy decisions.
What are you trying to achieve here, the ultimate outcome here?
I think education is a very important element of it, particularly as it relates to this part of the expo where it's primarily consumer-oriented. And also just to reach out and help our businesses be able to identify customers, because let's face it, for the solar industry to be successful, we have to have successful, profitable businesses. And this fair here gives people the chance to identify potential customers and educate customers relative to the value of solar. OSEA is also very involved in training. In fact, the last 2.5 days we trained over 250 professionals in the solar industry. One of the keys to a successful and growing solar business is to have extremely high quality product and high service and delivery of that product. So we have a number of different licensing requirements for those people who practition in the solar industry, as well as continuing education requirements for those who are licensed to do so. And so what we did in the last 2.5 days is give these individuals the opportunity to come here, sit in a classroom environment, and gain the necessary classroom credits towards those licenses. Many of the licenses also require practical experience in the field under a journeyman type of arrangement, as well as they require continuing education. So it was a very busy few days from Wednesday through Friday.
Solar is becoming more mainstream, but I'm wondering about the educational aspects, the engineering aspects of things, the jobs availability, and how that's going on and what the future looks like.
Well, once again, Oregon's been a true pioneer in developing programs for solar. For several years, we've had apprenticeship programs for people to gain the licensing necessary for installations. The other challenge that we have, of course, is one that's similarly faced in the electronics and semiconductor area, and that is we need to graduate more engineers to be able to design these products and to run these very sophisticated manufacturing facilities.
The demand in the industry is far exceeding the supply, not only of things like the solar modules, but also of companies that are capable of doing the design and installation. So there's a real need for us to attract a new crop of electrical contractors, roofers, HVAC, general contractors to learn photovoltaics so that they can do the design and installation for the customers, both residential and commercial, that have a demand for this technology.
Solar World, which is facilitating a plant in Hillsboro, Oregon, will be employing a considerable number of employees, and these are all very high-paying, high-skilled technical jobs.
That's what's really good about the state of Oregon and the type of programs that they've already put in place. You look at what Portland State has done, you look at what the Oregon university system has done. The Oregon University, Oregon State, PCC, these are institutions that have already embraced the semiconductor industry, and it's a very simple matter for us to take some of those courses, some of those classes, and change them slightly, and they'll fit perfectly into our industry and perfectly into the things that we need to get accomplished. What we'll do in the initial ramp will be at about 350 jobs, and that'll grow to 500. Ultimately, we'll probably be up in around 1,000 jobs out there at that facility.
To me, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to maybe make a little dent against that balance of payment issue when we look at our global trade issues. And we have some wonderful manufacturers and wonderful opportunities to grow our manufacturing employment base, as well as grow our export business.
This has been a great 2 days. About 4,000 people have been enjoying these wonderful workshops and lectures and checking out some of the local businesses here that are making a difference in our community. So we're bringing you the tools to be sustainable today.